Hello, good evening, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there's no ladies and not many gentlemen. Maybe I should change that to good evening, idiots.
I mean, they consider us entertainment, so I mean, that's on them.
Yeah.
Well, true.
hmm
Uh, some people consider like Donald Trump a good president.
Mm.
So,
The bottom is chimps mainly.
good evening.
Hey,
Hey, Lisa.
See, we now have a lady and we have a fellow idiot.
I'm waiting for the comment back from Lee on that one.
Oh no, Lisa. You and Alana are the ladies, and that brings me on to tonight's big news. Tyler has asked me to say that he has decided he's going for gender reassignment surgery. From here on out, he wishes to be known as Tracy.
And see, here's the best part about this whole thing. Even if for
You
some
don't have
reason
to
Matt had
defend
any
yourself.
legitimacy in his claims, right? How was it I didn't get a say in the name pick?
You were too late.
You don't have to defend yourself.
You were
Just-
too late. You can also change his name.
Yeah, no, I can't. That's why I've muted
Yeah.
him. This is a democracy, but only if you agree with what I say.
Matt has finally found the buttons and he is having issues controlling himself.
I've had that for quite a while. That's a
Mm.
different story.
Yes, in electoral parlance, this is a rotten bird.
Oh God, you got me thinking. Oh no. Thank you, Baldrick. Tonight's show is meant to be talking about grief, which we are going to talk about in a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get enough of it as the start of the show goes. So let's go on to everybody else's.
How is everybody? First thing is, how is everybody tonight? So I hope people are all well. That's you lot.
Today goes ain't been bad. There's a few rough spots in the week, but always is.
Not been too bad. Daughter kicking off as usual. Being a taxi for the boy and his mates to rugby. Yeah, pretty standard week, I would say. Hiya, Stevie.
Well,
Hey, Captain.
He's Captain.
That's good, Lisa. That is a good start. Yeah, well, it was good. I mean, it's good news. I mean, Theo's done well for himself. Anybody who doesn't know, Theo is Craig's son. So he's done really well for himself, bless him.
And he got 3/4 of the game at rugby today as well.
Oh, they're letting him play.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm going pleased for him. I'm pleased for him. It's nice that he's doing something that, it's good.
Yeah, well, he's always enjoyed his rugby. He's done it since he was 2. So
Craig, you're not supposed to use small children as the ball.
Why not?
It's okay, so long as it's on grass, they've got a soft landing.
Yeah. As long as you're not doing too many drop kicks, he's fine.
It's not like American football. High heels and lots of pads.
I'll say the
padding. They don't want to get hurt.
So, first thing, we did have a poorly Gwendolyn, bless her. Typical kid, picked up a bug from school, but she's not so bad today. She's back to her terrible self. Terrible as in terrorising everybody.
I was saying, isn't it funny how that works? They'll get sick and they'll be like, you actually are behaving today. What is wrong with you? Then you realize they're actually sick, and then the next day, well, you see what happens.
Hmm.
Sorry, Dad. I need to frost the cake so badly.
I think you know when your child's not well in.
Yeah, you always do. She's back to herself today, though, so just in time to go back to school. I mean, unlucky for her.
Isn't it half term this week in Ireland?
I don't know. I don't follow these things. I just do as I'm told.
Well, we know that.
Well,
Evening, William. Hope you're well.
Hi, William. Because mine are off now for Easter.
Not yet. No, I think it's
Yeah.
a few weeks off yet.
Dad can have some money. Dad can have some money.
Yeah,
Dad,
she's
Can
never
have
been.
some money.
She's not like
No,
that.
this is Theo.
Oh well, yeah. Well,
Well,
we've
Theo.
seen proof of that.
Fucking. Yeah.
It's when they get to that like the teen years, then they turn into like this endless pit of needing money.
Can I have some money? Because I'm hungry. Well, didn't you take a sandwich with you? Well, there's nothing good in the fish to eat.
Or they say in the house, "Can I have some money so I can go to McDonald's?" There's a kitchen full of food. Go and cook
Yeah.
something.
yeah,
All right, William. Thank you. Yeah, pretty
Yeah, not
good.
bad, man.
yeah.
How's your
not
week,
too bad.
William?
I've had some sort of summer cold thing that's been going on past few days, but apart from that, yeah, nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I've got something not quite right because my blood sugars are up.
We know that. I've known that since I first met you. It's something not quite right.
All right. I've got some form of physical virus affecting my blood sugars. Is that better?
Yes, actually.
Oh God! Now I'm getting told off. Oh, dear. Unfortunately, yeah, it's that time of the year, isn't it? Where the pollen's dry and of course kids pick it up from school and then bring it home and love sharing every infection and
yeah. But you always seem to get it towards the end of the holidays.
Yeah.
Just before they're about to go back to school.
Okay, yes, Stevie, I think we're all sick of that virus, the Labour Party.
Yeah.
You don't want much more falling off, will you?
There's not much left that can fall off.
Makes you wonder what has fallen off. So, what have we got news-wise to do with the vaping in this country?
Apart from the bill has gone through and gone to Lords. Nothing really new. There's been a lot of responses to the bill getting through.
I saw a post the other day about the government think that there might be a black market appearing.
Appearing?
No, never.
What?
Well, considering it's going to still be legal to import them into the country, yeah.
I mean, are we saying that there could be? So I wasn't going to say. So, no, do you know what? I'm going to say that there are going to be a certain groups of ethnicity who are definitely going to be selling illegal pods. I think
The ones that have already been selling anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
going to affect them.
The black market's here, and it's had 50% of the disposable market for the last 2 years.
If you looked about in the past couple of years, there's been a black market for e-liquid, and I prefer black metal too, Lee. But the black market for e-liquid and will come.
Hi,
The black
Steve.
market for the pod systems will
Thank you.
definitely. Evening, Hanky. Hope you're well, bud. So it's going to happen. We all said this. Other people said it as well. People like Mark Solon. And if anybody wants to follow news on anything vaping related, please go over. And if you're not subscribed to Mark, I don't know why you're not, but Mark is doing a hell of a lot and getting a hell of a lot of news out at the minute. He's doing some really, really good news on it.
Yeah.
He's doing a really good job considering the hours he works. So he's doing a lot on it. And the government sit there with this surprised look on their face of, oh, what happened? Well, we all said this was going to happen. It's obvious it's going to happen. If you stop something like 1930s America, we stopped alcohol. Oh, what happened? You caused the prohibition. Everybody cleared off over the Canadian border. Everyone was bringing it back.
Mm.
Or
You're gonna have
making their own.
You're gonna have UK speakeasies for vaping. You're gonna walk into the back room and not be able to see anything.
Yeah, you're going to have Popcorn Chandler there with a dodgy hat on. And no Daisy Dukes.
I was gonna say something about, a custardy diacetyl type,
Quite possibly. I mean, we're laughing about it, but it
Thing-
isn't funny because
The thing
people in
is,
power aren't
the one thing that they made a big deal out of turns out wasn't really the problem.
Mm.
a couple of things they did that with.
Diacetyl, the levels we get from a vape are so low compared to smoking.
No, Hanky, nothing came up with Green Heart's My Name in it, buddy.
Mm.
I don't know why. That's
We
weird.
still love you anyway, Steve.
Yeah, of course we love you, Hanky. We love you.
But
No,
it's a lopsided love, though, Hanky. You love us a certain way. We reciprocate, within reason.
Carefully.
With protection.
The prohibition thing, like William said, it doesn't work. It's never going to work.
No.
Yes, I do have a black heart. It's in the cupboard over there. Prohibition's not going to work. The easiest way.
It doesn't make sense, William. It doesn't.
The easiest way was to tax it, which we all said before this, at a sensible level.
Yeah.
And when Bill and I said about this, and Craig, we all said about it, and at a sensible level for us in the UK, it's not like ruling Tyler out here, but we wouldn't have had an issue to pay, that little bit extra in tax. That's not an issue. Okay.
Yeah.
Few extra pence here and there.
We talked about it before, Matt, because they did the same thing here years ago, and they did put a tax in place. But it's nowhere near what they're trying to do to you guys,
I mean, if VAT plus a 20% tax, a duty on it, fine.
That's weird. That is weird.
Yeah.
Hanky just sent me a screenshot, and it's on his, the Green Heart. It's not on ours.
I didn't see anything at all.
Yeah, it's not come up on ours.
It's not come up on the chat.
Weird. Very weird, Hanky. YouTube.
Probably.
But I mean, but it's the same as we've been saying for a long time. Deposit scheme for disposables so that they're exchanged, so they go into recycling properly. That should have been brought in. Proper regulation of vape shops with licensing.
Mhm.
That should have been brought in. They're simple things that would have actually made it possible to have some responsibility for what's happening. And they've never even entered into discussion about it.
No, they'd already planned. They already had a plan. And the plan was to bring down vaping, because they're following, like most things, they're following suit with what America did, which is what the UK always seems to do.
We all knew there would eventually be tax with what the Tories, with what the Conservatives say.
Yeah.
But Labour have taken it one step further and basically trying to price people out.
If you think about this another way, forget vaping for a second. What are they trying to do with cars? What are they trying to do with other taxation?
Yeah.
Diesel cars. A lot of people own diesel cars that are 5, 6, 10 years old, for instance. Perfectly healthy, engines, perfectly good cars, perfectly safe. And there's now talk of them taxing some of these vehicles up to £5,000 a year. What planet are that? What?
They're taxing them over there. Over here, they're trying to give incentives to the point where when you file your taxes at the end of the year, there's a whole separate form section with information if you bought any EVs that year, and you get tax breaks on it.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's an issue here. Most of the parts that make up Teslas, which is the only electric vehicle you're probably going to have, because obviously he's going to put this embargo in against China. Most of the parts, the things like transistors and the chips and of course batteries that go into these Tesla vehicles, not that I'd ever trust one anyway, come from China.
Yeah, and the way they keep, catching on fire, it's not like they have Temu batteries in them.
Tesla from Temu. No, I agree with you. I agree with you, Tyler.
And it would look the exact same as it does now.
I would trust a Tesla from Temu more than I trust one from Musk.
I mean, it might not be bulletproof still, but he might have a little bit of more protection on you.
People are finally realising in the past few months what we've been saying for ages is if Labour get in, it was going to be trouble.
Yeah.
It always is with Labour. The last time I remember it being this bad in this country, and it's heading to get actually worse, was in the 70s when we had the 3-day week.
Yep.
And it's heading there again. That was a Labour government.
There's rumors of Trump trying to cut us to a 30-hour max week.
Yep. There's already been people who are trying to organise strikes in this country, and I don't agree with strikes, but I do agree with people striking against this government. Totally agree with it. And it isn't going to be long before people start getting arrested for disagreeing with Keir Starmer. It's going to happen. I guarantee it.
I'm sure there already has been cases here and there. You just don't hear about them.
Oh, no, there already has been a few big YouTubers.
Yeah.
It always says we talk about this like doom and gloom. But the fact is, that is all there is at the minute, is doom and gloom.
Yeah.
It's not improving. It's not improving at all. The National Health Service is on its arse. People aren't getting the treatments and appointments they need. I'm not putting down the National Health Service. Not at all. I'm not putting them down. but the Labour government are stopping things. Yeah, the zero free speech in the UK right now. We're heading towards a system of, if you agree with the government, you'll be okay.
That's a Stalinist view.
Yeah, which is scary. Stalin killed more people than Adolf Hitler, you know.
Well, a lot more people disappeared to the gulags.
Mm.
Because
disagree,
under Stalin,
William.
people just disappeared.
I disagree, William. The Muppets were funny. The government isn't. Although I'm sure some of you guys have this week seen that when Labour came in, they made a big fuss about the paedophile members of Parliament who were Conservative. Now we have a Labour MP who has been caught and charged for both sex
Who's
offence.
now going to be standing as an independent, I believe, as well.
He shouldn't be standing.
You shouldn't be standing full stop.
At
No.
all. No, just kneecap it. But anyway, sorry, I got a bit carried away. But in my eyes, and I guarantee he will get off with that because Keir Starmer always sides with the Speedos. He always sides with them. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it. He sides with Speedos. His own party is full of them. What does that say? You've got somebody in power who's a nonce.
Yeah.
How can you trust a nonce? I hate people like him with a vengeance. It's dangerous, dangerous place. Yes, it has, Lee. Communism has killed more people than any other system. Yeah, any opinion, you can't have an opinion to disagree with. If you disagree with anybody in the communist system, you disagree with them, they'll just get rid of you. And it is the way we're ending up.
Well, the other thing, the other thing that's being eroded, and very quickly, is workers' rights. Under communism, you had the right to work. You had no actual workers' rights, though.
No. The way the system is going.
You were expected to work for your basic keep. And at times, it was extremely basic.
He certainly did, Shane. He made a massive tool. But it's not, you can't just blame Starmer. It's the whole party. The front benchers.
There's already been a lot of rumours circulating, Lisa.
I think, at the very least, I think Keir Starmer has strong links towards those circles. Whether he has been involved in that type of activity, I wouldn't like to say. But time will tell.
Precisely, Lee. It's very true, Steve. There hasn't been, the closest there's been to a successful communist state is actually, in a lot of ways, more capitalist than the West, and that's China. The thing is, the Chinese, they work for 6 months of the year in factories. The other 6 months of the year, they go back home.
Yep.
And they can make enough money in 6 months to pay for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So that's a weird mix of capitalist and communist.
Yeah.
It's communist ideas, but with capitalist attitudes.
The way it's looking at the moment, with them making big cities places that you're going to have to pay to go into, the price of fuel, the price of tax on vehicles. So, of course, any tax on vehicles will affect the tax going up, will affect things like running costs of tyres, batteries, servicing, so on. People aren't going to be able to afford to run a car. Fuel prices will go up. Fuel prices for house fuel, so gas, oil, that type of thing. It's going to end up with people virtually having to pay the government to go to work.
Well, and think about all the garages, all the mechanics that they're going to be overcharged ridiculously to do the work or shut down.
To actually cover their costs, garages have to charge a lot of money.
And that's before everything is, affected. It's already high for most things.
Yeah. It's not far off now, Shane, off North Korea. We're constantly monitored, which is why I hate this upcycle of AI. AI is dangerous because I can tell you now everything I'm saying right now is being monitored. And the more you talk about this, the more you get onto their system and the more you're monitored. America's been doing it for the past 30 years. Or more. It's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous.
And with all of this, mental health is getting worse daily.
As for Ed Miliband, I would personally like Ed Miliband to take himself, bend himself over double, shove his head up his own arse, because that's about the best place for it. Because that man is so deluded when it comes to wind farms will save the planet. No, it won't.
No,
It'll just ruin the countryside, you Burke.
I was going to say, I prefer the Steve Miller Band anyway.
Yeah, so do I. I totally agree with you there.
I mean, the whole game with EVs and moving everything to supposedly greener technologies is BS because they're not greener.
You've always had people like that, Shane. People who say that Motability should be scrapped and should be banned, and we, as a disabled person, we shouldn't get the option. I pay for the option to have a Motability car, right? I pay for that. I pay a lot of money for that. I will show that person that I can drive when I run him over. It's not an issue. I don't mind. I will run him over. Exactly, Lisa.
Yeah.
I paid 200 and... I don't mind people knowing what I paid, but I paid over £200 a month. So you know, I
It's about 260 in it for yours.
think so. I can't be asked. I could get the paperwork out, but it's over there, and I can't be asked to move. But yeah,
Because-
it's not. Recycle old cars is another option. There's there's a lot of cars that are 10, 15 years old and are perfectly good cars.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
Mm.
The government. The
I'm
other thing,
looking-
of course, is that the government wants cars that has the ability to track the cars.
Well, not just that, but be able to shut them down too at any moment.
Oh, that's easy to
Mm.
get rid. Just shut off the right. There's ways of shutting that system down in a car.
I only say it depends because my sister had a car years ago from a dealership. I'm not shitting you, man. They probably put easily an extra couple miles of wire through the entire engine compartment,
Mike.
shut off like system.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, you could bypass shut off systems.
What's going on, Mike?
Even some insurance companies won't let you have an insurance policy unless you have a little one of these little black boxes
Oh, I mean, look
Yeah.
what they're doing to
which
kids.
monitors your driving style.
My driving style is somewhere between Ayrton Senna and Mad Max.
I was thinking more Barry Sheen and Mad Max.
At the end of the day, if you're doing something wrong and you're doing something illegal, having an option where a car can be shut down might be a good idea. Might.
Yeah, but
But you're then leaving
where are they going to
yourself-
shut it down? The middle of the bloody motorway, or
Exactly. You're leaving yourself open to that thing of will that
yeah?
system be misused? Of course it will.
Hmm.
I said the only time you want a kill switch to be actionable is the vehicle has to have been turned off and you go to turn it on again.
Hmm.
Then it means you've a chance of retrieving the vehicle if it's been stolen. I don't see a problem with that. Once it's turned off, you can't turn it back on again. Fair enough.
Exactly, Lisa. Like Lisa's just said, if they have the power, they'll misuse it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that's a given.
But
Although I do think, sorry, Bill.
if a vehicle's in motion, you should not be able to stop it.
No.
It's
No.
dangerous.
But I also think there should be a system on the vehicle that you should provide a breath test, and then you will allow you can start, and then it will allow you to start your vehicle.
Yeah.
The
Especially if you're
technology is there.
The technology is there; they have it on coaches.
Yeah.
So everybody stock up on your canned air just in case.
No, but some of them take 3 separate samples, and if it
Mhm.
detects pure oxygen, it automatically locks out anyway.
Mm.
Dad, is it time for a snack? It's time.
Yeah, Shane,
You're freezing.
my disability is hidden. You can't see what's wrong with me.
Mm.
You know, I've got 2 legs, I've got 2 arms, I've got all my fingers, all my toes.
They're very short legs, but he has got to.
It's not my fault the shot. Blame me dad.
Mm.
It's genetics.
There's a really horrible joke I can make. We're going to leave this one undone. Okay, anyway.
What was Middle Earth like?
I don't know. My dad escaped.
Ah, dear. Right. What else are we going to talk about before I get in more trouble?
Well, we talked about the UK side, a little bit for the US side of everything.
Go on, but
FDA has pulled what we all knew they were going to. They have gotten another law passed back in their favor. They now have full open legislation to ban flavors across the entire country.
Oh shit.
So that we're kind of at a stalemate to see what happens now, because they're either going to throw everything else at once or a little bit at a time over the next couple of years. So, but past
Oh, they're
that,
going to do it all at once. They're going to do it all at once.
so they feel like, well, and if they're going to say anything beforehand, we have any time for preparation, or if it's just going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the reality we're at now. All I can say for people in the States, yeah, if you don't already, find a way to get yourself the supplies and start making your own juice, because it's one of the only things we're going to have to keep going on.
Mm.
Yeah, that's true, Steve. It's
Yeah.
so difficult to get what you're entitled to. When you look, I had an 18-month fight to get mine,
Yeah.
despite
All the
enough,
proof and more. Yeah.
yeah, 9 serious degenerative conditions, and they took it away, and they had the proof. You know, it is ridiculous, and that's without even looking at mental health.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a system that is now. I don't know what's going to happen. All the disabled, you know, the big concerns involved with the disability stuff are up in arms about it.
Oh, totally.
A lot of the politicians are disagreeing with it. The problem is Starmer will ignore what everybody is saying and just continue to do what he wants to do. That's the danger.
Oh, don't worry, Lee. I'm stocked up already. See, we're ready to go here the right way.
Yeah, but when you get one of these, you'll find that don't last very long.
Well, thankfully, that's a pure concentrate, but still.
You'll still find that don't last very long.
Say, as far as having to fill that thing as much, is it coming in handy having the bigger bubble glass for it?
Yeah. It makes a hell of a difference. I'm only vaping 2 to 3 tanks of liquid a day, as opposed to 5 or 6. It's that much of a difference in the capacity in the tank.
Yeah. It makes a difference.
Mm.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, Mike's made some good improvements on it. Subtle all the way around. They're all subtle improvements, apart from the bubble glass.
Yeah, there's not much subtle about that.
There's nothing subtle about that bubble glass.
No.
It reminds me of old school sub-ohm tanks.
A 35mm glass on a 30mm tank.
Yeah, he does, Shane. He's I wouldn't say Starmer is like Hitler. Starmer is like Stalin.
Yeah.
Because of the whole attitude towards, he doesn't want people to be able to have their opinions. He doesn't want you to say, I disagree with what you're saying. And that's a very dangerous thing. Very, very dangerous thing. It's extremely dangerous.
Yeah. That's
Russia, the way Russia is going now, we've got a Russian leader who is trying to take Russia back to Russia how it was.
Yeah.
That is dangerous. We have the giant cheese puff in America and his sidekick, who I'd love to meet, Vance. I really would love to meet that man. Just to educate him on the fact that the UK was born as a fighting country. America wasn't.
Yeah.
We know how to fight. You don't, mate. So shut your mouth while I'm necking. America has never won a fucking battle in its entire history. The only battle you ever won, and it wasn't really a battle, was you won of beating the native Indians. Not you personally, Tyler, but
Well,
you know.
no.
And you had to cheat at that.
Yeah.
By
The
giving them
biggest
poisoned
case-
blanket.
yeah.
Stuff.
The biggest case of germ warfare ever.
Mm.
It was disgusting.
Mm.
But and Trump sits there and talks about we want America for Americans. Well, fuck off then.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, there's one for you, Matt. Did you hear about I believe it was a US YouTuber that went to, I cannot remember what the island is actually called. It's like one of the forbidden islands you're not legally even allowed to go to because the local tribe has never really seen anybody else ever.
Yeah.
Well, he decided he was going to go there and bring them Coca-Cola as a gift. He now has a lot of countries very, very upset with him for going to this island and possibly introducing disease from just traveling there.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's, well, when you look, white Americans introduced 2 lethal diseases to the Native Americans: smallpox and influenza.
Mm.
And they'd no resistance to either because they had never encountered either virus.
Nope. Yep. But for Trump to sit there and say, make America for Americans, it it just proves how stupid he is. And yeah, you're right. Nobody has got the backbone anymore in this country to stand up and fight, Mike.
Mm.
Where does that leave us? I dread to think, to be perfectly honest.
Well, people will be holding hand in hand in the streets. You know, you've upset us. You've offended us. We want you to fix it.
Oh, fuck.
We're not going to do anything else. They're just going to sit there and complain. But, you know.
We're gonna have them all out there, aren't we? Chanting fucking, their little woke tree hugger songs.
Yeah, the woke alliance.
Who are all for? They're all for Keir Starmer at the moment, until because eventually he will turn on them.
Yeah,
it will happen. He will turn on those people. And then it will turn nasty. It won't be long.
Handbags at dawn. Oh no, that's if the Rainbow Alliance gets involved as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tucking things in before going into battle.
Weapons at the ready. A whole new meaning.
Not those ones. Not those ones. See, Matt, the same joke was in my head. I was figuring out how to word it. And you already got it before I got it out.
It just doesn't. No, just.
I was gonna say, swords at the ready, but it's too obvious. You had to be more, clever than that.
It also takes us back to a whole new meaning of the Dad's Army thing of I don't like it up 'em.
Some do.
What is your name? Don't tell him, Pike.
Doomed. We're doomed.
Classic proper British comedy.
Oh, it was. I'm gonna have to watch that again.
I've got them all on DVD. Going from classic British comedy to a more serious thing, but it can be treated with a sense of humour, is grief.
Yeah.
There's a segue for you. Grief can be treated with a sense of humour. There are funny things happen.
Just ask an undertaker.
Exactly.
And I have a couple of friends who are undertakers. You think Matt's humour gets dark? It's nothing.
Oh, they can be really fucking dark, some of the. But what they deal with every day, I mean, they have to deal with some horrendous things, terrible accidents and things involving youngsters.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to have a sense of humor that's on that side if you're going to do that for a living, because you're going to go insane otherwise.
Yeah.
Ambulance drivers, people like that, they're the same.
Yeah.
They have a very dark sense of humour that people would say is inappropriate, but
once you get them away from the scene, so of the police and the fire brigade, for the same reasons, because they all encounter those awful situations.
I mean, if you're
without that ability, without the ability to vocalize it and turn it some form of humor, you ain't gonna last long.
No, you've got to have a sense of humour about it. I mean, it's not being nasty about somebody who's passed away. It's just that there are funny things happen. And you've got to see a funny side of these things. Got to. It's got to. Even though grief is a hard process to deal with and can take years to deal with grief.
Do you think that's also part of the British mentality?
No.
The British sort of stiff upper lip where...
I think sometimes maybe it might be, but I think generally the issue that this is going to sound completely sexist. The issue we have is as blokes, especially as older blokes, we had this attitude of, well, because we're sort of older, we're men, we shouldn't be crying, or you shouldn't cry about it, blah, 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 and so on. Whereas for a woman, it's easier sometimes for them to show their emotions.
Maybe not even easier, call it more socially acceptable.
Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake, Lee, don't start on that one.
Yeah, I mean...
that was classic.
It's like... I read a post today and it brought back immediately memories.
Yeah.
Cozy Powell's anniversary was yesterday.
Yeah, it was. I think
one of the defining British rock drummers.
Yeah. Grief is different because it depends who you're grieving for. If you're grieving if you're grieving for a parent, it's hard. It's still hard, very hard.
Yeah.
But you kind of know it's going to happen. If you're dealing with, like some people, like Lee and Lisa had to deal with a child, that's something that nobody should have to deal with. It's unexpected. It's an unexpected, and it's a very difficult thing to deal with. That, thankfully, I've not something I've had to deal with in that way. But that's a whole other, and I don't think that grief ever goes away.
No, it really doesn't.
I don't think grief ever goes away for anybody, really. I really don't.
Well, we were talking about this the other day because my dad died 45 years ago. It's only the last 2 or 3 years where I have really come to terms with it and can see some of the good side from my dad.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some nasty sides to him but he went very suddenly as well. He literally went in a week, as far as we saw.
Yeah.
No pre-warning to it.
I don't know. In some ways, it makes it easier when it happens quickly.
Mm.
In others, it doesn't.
Well, I mean, I remember when my grandma passed away. It was a long process of her body, degenerating and muscles going away and not being able to speak properly and hair loss and everything else. Seeing them go through that or losing somebody suddenly, either way is going to hit you. Obviously, different ways, but it's bad either way.
Oh, awesome, Lisa.
Yeah, it's taken fucking long enough.
Mm.
I think anything child related is always going to be a much harder one to deal with.
Yeah.
And having spoken with Lisa a lot about it, and Lee obviously, but in Lisa's case, and I don't think Lisa will mind me. She can tell me to shut the fuck up if she wants. She normally does. It's harder for Lisa because Lisa feels she's partially responsible. So you've got the grief process with blaming herself on top of that, which, yeah, that's got to be an incredibly hard one to deal with,
Well, yeah, it adds a whole different level to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's on a whole other level of, it's very, very difficult. The only thing you can do when I think with something like that is try and, if you're with a partner, is try and allow both of you to grieve. Sorry, like Lee and Lisa have. I think they set a really good example of how you should grieve. Is to try and grieve as a couple while still kind of allowing each other to grieve in your own time. It's because it's not going to be an easy process. Yeah, it is never an easy process, grieving.
Well, there's no time frame for something like that,
No.
No.
And there's no right or wrong, and nobody can, like you say, nobody can say, "Oh, well, you should grieve it. You should only take you 6 weeks or a month or 2, whatever." No, there's not a time.
However long it takes.
It might take. Some people can lose a parent and be over it and sort of kind of back to normal-ish in weeks, and that's it. They're fine. other people, it can take forever. You know, it never really goes away.
No, but, well, yeah, I mean that's the thing for me. It's never gone away, and it's affected my mental health dreadfully at times.
Oh, and it will.
And I go through periods, and I'm coming up towards it again,
Yeah,
where I am not going to be very good at communicating because I just become very closed in.
yeah.
Mm.
And it happens end of April to middle of May every year. Because that's the period of time that marks when my father died.
Yeah.
It used to be the start point of major depressions.
Yeah.
That would go on until I finally fully crack late July, August.
Yep.
And I've had 5 total mental breakdowns because of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are the things that you were saying earlier about what they're trying to do with disability, with the Disability Act and that. These are things that you can't quantify. You can't sit there and say, this is going to happen this week, and I'll be fine the rest of the year. It's not going to happen.
Mm.
Of course you can't. It's not possible.
But it's
Mental health doesn't work that way either.
Yeah.
No, but it's all connected to grief.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, like you said earlier, Bill, if anyone who didn't know you and just had a quick glance looked at you, they wouldn't know you have the problems you do.
No.
You know, and then people start assuming, and it turns into, what if the government looks at it like that? Oh, well, you don't look that sick, or you don't look like you have that bad of mental health, so we're just going to, handle somebody else's issues that seems like they're more severe. But in the reality of it, you don't know how severe someone's situation really is.
Yeah. I still remember in the medical assessment for the department, this is many years ago, I was fortunate I saw the same doctor, and he was a retired doctor.
Yeah.
And he turned to me after total mental breakdowns and said, it's unlikely you'll ever be fit to work because this is going to keep recurring.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if it hadn't been for being put on serious medication, as Matt knows, yeah, I would have been on that cycle every year.
Yeah.
And when I was working, I was able to bury myself in work. But unfortunately, I literally buried myself in work.
Yeah.
I was working 18 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Yep.
So your mind was active and busy doing something and not thinking about other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mind had to think about what I was doing work-wise. But I was working at a rate that was insanely high. Everything was fast, but there was a lot of problem solving all of the time. Once that side went and I could think, I went downhill.
Yeah.
And it happened every time.
Because your brain just goes back to thinking about what.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, unfortunately, it is a vicious circle. There are professionals that can help. Do people need professional grief counsellors? Oh, I don't know. I'm some of them are very good grief counsellors, but
Yeah.
I don't think they're the be all and end all of.
A good grief counsellor will turn around to you and say, "It's not time yet where I can do anything."
No,
That
you've got to allow
that, and because a friend went through the grief when her mother died, and she has a spell every year where she goes like me. She goes quiet.
Yeah.
And it's same sort of triggers. But she was told counselling is just not going to serve any purpose for you.
exactly.
And that was a good grief counsellor, because they were, instead of trying to do something and stirring up what could have been far worse.
Oh yeah.
Well, especially mentally, you're not at a place to deal with it properly. You know.
Yeah. You know, I mean, the whole process of grieving, it has small patterns.
Yeah.
But it's the long cycle stuff that you can't deal with the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how that works, Mike. It sometimes it just doesn't hit you until a certain point, and then you just completely lose it.
It was gonna though, Mike. It's just because it's been 27 years since you lost your dad, which people say, well, after 27 years you should, blah blah blah. You should have done it. No. There could be all sorts of reasons why you haven't dealt with it as such. The problem is people forget that we're still trying to live a normalish life. So you end up trying to ignore what is actually going on, which is probably the worst thing you can do. That is the dangerous bit, is that you end up... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you were caring for your mum and your other sister, obviously, cared for as well.
And also with your own health issues that you got as well, Mike.
And that's probably the worst thing you can do, Shane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I dived into a bottle for years, Shane, and didn't help. All it did was bury it temporarily.
See, I like Lisa. And I like Lee's approach to their grief.
Yeah.
They still go out on birthdays when it would have been Cookie's birthday. They still go out for, like, they're taking Cookie out for a birthday treat, be it wherever. They still celebrate that day. They still, they still have things around that celebrate Cookie. They still talk about Cookie as Cookie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
No, in all reality, it's actually a really healthy way to deal with it.
I don't see an issue with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Lee used other things because Lee, as a lot of people know, is rock. He does his own music and he does that. So Lee wrote a song just doing about grief and the music, which is a really good song. Talking about the stages of how he was pissed off and he was angry and all the stages. And it's a way of getting that out there through. You can. That's what people forget is there are places you can get rid of that through writing, be it writing music, be it writing poetry, be it writing lyrics. You know, all of that can help. I know what you mean. You didn't have to correct yourself, Mark. I already knew, buddy. Yeah, I mean, I think we've all been in that position where you get to that point. It's because your brain can't handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at it from a lot of different ways, Mike. But if you're anybody and you get that level of stress, you're probably going to have at least one of those days.
Well, I wonder why, Lee, you still find it hard to listen to that song. Well, obviously. I mean, obviously, I've listened to it. I find it hard to listen to because I'm close to you guys. I know what the song's about, but it's a very good song. Very, and you've got a lot out in it that says about the emotions that you had at the time, which I think is a healthy way of doing it. I think it's a very healthy way because you're getting your emotions out. I don't see anything. If anything can help. Well, the issue with drinking is, Shane, drinking makes people hard to deal with anyway. Drinking doesn't help anybody. Because it turns most people into an arsehole by drinking. And your thoughts aren't actually clear.
You're either an asshole or you're self-sabotage, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Shane, everybody here already knows I deal with it still. It's still something that I struggle with on a semi-regular basis is, drinking. But you got to realize, why you're doing it.
Yep.
And I'm not saying don't completely. That's not my decision to make for you. The thing that helped me realize was, okay, maybe look at how much you're willing to, drink at a time if you're going to drink anyways. Don't grab the whole bottle and go kill it in a room by yourself.
Yeah, I was going to get on to this one, Steve, about going from losing people to people say, oh, you shouldn't grieve when you lose like an animal, be it a cat, a dog, whatever. But you do get extremely close to them. Yeah, it's no different.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is with animals, their loyalty and love for you is unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it sometimes harder to deal with than people.
Well, and especially I think about it, if it's your personal pet, they've probably been with you and it's been just you and them. How many times they've seen those different sides of you that no one else does.
Yeah.
And they still don't care. They still want to sit there and be happy for you and everything else. And they still love you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with what went on, Lisa, you weren't meant to be able to have a child. Then, obviously, what happened. Yeah. Yeah. pretty devastating way of.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't go and seek help. I'm not. I think there's a lot of good people out there who you can talk to. A lot of the grief counsellors can be helpful when you're ready for it. If nothing more than just having somebody to talk to. But I also think if you've got a good group of people that you can talk to, just talk to, and actually will listen, not make opinions. Be careful what you say, Emma. But actually listen and just listen. That's because that's what people half the time need. They just need somebody to bounce ideas off. It's just having somebody there that they can bounce ideas off and sort of am I, and get that. Am I talking? Am I being an idiot, or do you think this is real, or whatever?
And saying that to actually feel like you're being heard.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where you get people who you can throw whatever you like at them, and they switched off half an hour ago.
Oh yeah.
See, I've always had the opposite. I've been talked back at over all the years.
Yeah. I've done
I did,
this.
Shane. You need anything, buddy, get a hold of me.
Yeah. Yeah, Shane, you know where I am.
Yeah.
If you want to talk, we can talk.
So I'm not mistaken, Shane's about my age, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. You ever need just an ear or somebody to bullshit with? No worries.
But yeah, I've done it. Being the one that a lot of people have, well, they've needed to be heard. I've listened.
Yeah.
And I don't switch off. I try to keep my opinions out of it.
Lest they involve nurses.
Shh. Leave the nurses alone.
That's what he says to him when he's in the cubicle. Don't scream.
Look, he enjoyed it.
Spreading the big Bulgarian hands like shovels, yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, yeah.
Look, you pair of perverts.
I've got Flo Jansen on my mod.
You wish. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's as close as I'm going to get to having her in my hands.
So, Bill, what flavor is that juice again?
It's the closest he's going to get something stiff near Flo Jansen, put it that way.
Actually, it's not, because I've also got her on this one.
Most people don't even use eScribe just for the uses of it. Those up here, I'm going to have a background that I can...
Yeah, but this isn't. This doesn't use eScribe.
What is that, Yeehee board?
Yeah.
Fucking.
And I even bought the plug-in thing for the new pod.
You just used the words plugging thing and Floor Jansen. Really, in the same sentence.
Yeah, I see your point, bro. Yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
Because that's got Flo Jansen on as well.
Mm.
You're gonna be in the national papers for stalking Floor at this rate.
Well, there's probably readily available pictures on Google. What I've just seen.
You look.
I've just had a look to see what she looks like. Yeah, I can see Bell's point.
No, you
I'm
can't.
just waiting for Craig's missus to walk
The
in.
camera's aimed a bit too high.
Thankfully, yeah. It was bad enough seeing you with the towel wrapped around your head. I don't need to see that.
You see, Lisa, that's a proper nurse. That is tight uniform and stocking tops. Whoa.
Whoa. No, I think my favourite one was when I was at Hull Tech. And we had 3 years of student nurses.
No, see, I'm not the whole nurse thing, but I'll tell you what, when my mom was going through hygiene school and all the 20-something-year-old new hygienists were in there and needed a patient to practice on, I had my teeth cleaned so many times in those couple of years. I'm telling you what.
Do you know how close he was then to getting kicked off? I was just about, because he went, well, my mom. I was like, no, Tyler, no, don't.
Look, I know you're in America.
I'm not in Kentucky. Can we leave it at that?
You mean Ohio's not as bad?
Not in this part of Ohio. You go a little further south, it might get a little, banjo-y.
I just got to have a moment while I just try and pull myself together before I say something that gets me in trouble with Tyler's mum.
I'll say, I'll find the button to boot you off here.
It wouldn't be the first time I've said something completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
That's true.
In all fairness, though, you actually have Bill have his mom talk to you on the phone when she comes to visit. So
That's true. Yep. Both of us giving my mum lectures on what the gearbox does.
Oh, bless her.
Well, she's 81 now.
I think she's allowed to make mistakes now and again.
Probably.
You know, I mean, she's still getting out and about and going to dances and teaching craft stuff at some of the festivals.
She's got a better life than most of us.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can't fault her. Can't fault her.
You know, I know my son got really pissed off because he realised that she's going out and doing things and spending money. And he's there, but what about my inheritance? You're not getting one. Fuck off. In that case, she's wearing the watch wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely wearing the watch strong if it's like pulling teeth. But I'll be honest, when my mum goes, that will hit me.
Oh, God, obviously.
Yeah, I might be taking a couple weeks off work when my mom goes.
I mean, yeah. Because from my point of view, it's one of the weirdest things is it's only over the last few years that me and my mum have ever talked about my dad.
Yeah.
Because she was the only other person who knew what he was like.
Mm.
You see, that's the one thing. At least I didn't get my dad's hairline.
We're not going to
Well,
talk about
I get my dad's hairline.
No, I got my granddad's hairline.
Although Theo, I've been winding him up about him probably inheriting his grandfather's hairline, and his other grandfather's hairline. Like, no, I'm not. Well, you could be getting the male pattern baldness in our family, yeah.
You want to wind him up next time, you know, and just turn around and say, "No, you'll definitely be getting it. I've spoken to the doctor. They said guaranteed it will. You'll definitely get it."
I mean, either that or just get a real close shave while he's sleeping one night. Let him wake up. See, I told you.
It's like, well,
That's not worth the hassle. Honestly, that's not worth the hassle.
No. I've got an even better one.
One of my favorite ones was my dad said his hair went wavy. Yep, it waved. Bye.
Wait, bye, yeah.
Get some of the hair removal cream. Put it on his hair. Leave it overnight. Wakes up in the morning, brushes his hair.
But only put it right on the top. That way he's got the sides still.
Oh, that is cruel.
It's cool.
I would not. I honestly.
Better
I know it's cruel. I would not be that cruel to him. No.
Just do a
I
tongue
wouldn't.
You just see him coming home from school or college, whatever, and going, "I'm going bald. I'm going bald."
See, I told you. See? I started going at 18. You're going at 14.
He'd never forgive you for that one.
No, he wouldn't forgive me for that. No. It's not worth the hassle and the grief either.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I reckon Tyler's got another 10 years before he looks like an egg.
No, see, this is what's funny. My biological dad still, his hair is, I mean, he's obviously got worse, peaks on it than mine does, but he has got a very decently long head of hair and everything still, except for right here.
Oh, God, he's not got long hair that starts back here, has he?
No, that's the funny thing. Like his front of his hairline is where it should be on the center, but the corners have peaked back so far, and then he combs all his hair straight back with grease. Oh, yeah.
Actual grease.
It looks like it. I've only met the man once in my life, but it looked like it.
Talking of the other baldy, where's Mike? Mike has the hairline of Mike has the hairline of an egg.
Just stay out of the, home improvement stores where they sell plungers. You don't want to.
I'd love
Oh, he's
to
done that. He's done that with plunger.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that to Mike. I would love to. I'd pay to do that to Mike.
I'm a unicorn.
With
No,
super glue on
what
it.
you do is you stick it to his board and then unscrew the handle so he can't get it off.
He would kill me. He really would.
Yeah. Shane had none on his head. It was just down his back.
See, I don't know because being adopted, I don't know what my real parent. I don't know about my dad. What the hairline was. Well, no, Lisa. Let's be honest. If you inherited your dad's hairline, that wouldn't have been a good look for a woman.
See, here's the strange thing. This is humour from grief.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I love those adverts. The Rab seen it when he did the.
Oh,
what
the
was his
Baldy
name?
man.
Baldy
Baldy
man.
man.
I was just trying to think the guy who played it. His actual name, the comedian's name.
Oh, Gregor Fisher.
Gregor,
That's it.
yeah. He was funny as fuck. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
The photo booth one was brilliant.
Mm.
Yeah, but now, you wouldn't be allowed to do that now because that would be, it would be seen as, and you know, you'd be being cruel to people who are going bald or it's.
But not only that, you can't advertise tobacco on TV anymore anyway.
That's true.
Oh, just wait. Give it a number of years for what community gets to that age. Be the follically impaired.
Well, I tell you what, the hair's not keeping their brains warm because they're in the fucking brain in their heads.
Because Baldy man did Hamlet. Didn't
Yeah.
Russ Abbott do Russ Abbott did Castella, didn't he?
Yeah.
Castellus. Yeah, Castellus. Yeah, he did the fishing one as well, where he was sat up fishing, didn't he, Russ Abbott?
Yeah, it was the Des O'Connor record, wasn't it? And they were jumping out the water out into the net. Yeah.
He was very, you know, I liked Russ Abbott as a comedian. He was funny. Very funny man.
Another drummer.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was actually a pretty good drummer. The Black Abbots, wasn't it?
The best sketch I ever saw Russ Abbott did was the what do you call it? The question where he did the quiz one.
Oh yeah, Mastermind one. Yeah.
Mastermind one. That was fucking brilliant. That was so well timed.
Well, didn't the two Ronnies do a similar sketch to it as well?
Yeah, yeah.
The two
Basildon Bond as well.
Yeah.
Was one of the characters.
Do you know an advert I saw the other day?
The two Ronnies one was answering the question previous.
Yeah. That was a really clever advert.
That was a clever one.
Because it came down to timing, and the timing was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you another advert I saw the other day because I was going back through 70s and 80s adverts, was the PG Tips adverts.
Oh, the monkeys.
Yeah. Dad, do you know there's a piano on my foot?
You want my son?
I'll play it.
Yeah, and they got banned from doing the Chimps Tea Party and all of that, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they all got banned. So many of these
Probably some animal rights thing.
Yeah, but the adverts were clever.
I like that, Lisa. David Lamy did a mastermind sketch, only he didn't intend to be a sketch. David Lamy, what a prize tit that man is. Honest to God. Mind you, that's an insult to tits. I like them. I don't like him. God, that man is so stupid.
He's got a counterpart in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, JD Vance. I think they're about the same intelligence level. IQ and negative.
I thought to be a politician, though, I thought you had to have whether you disagree with politicians or not. We all know they're sneaky, lying, two-faced bastards. That's a given. But I thought you had to have. I thought you had to have a certain level of intelligence.
No, just look at the Labour front bench.
Do I have to?
Well, you would hope they would have some level of intelligence.
And then think back to the PG Tips adverts.
Hey, don't you? Yeah, point taken, actually, Lisa. Point taken, yeah. Oh, my God, that woman was so stupid. Or is. I'm presuming.
Well, she's still a Labour MP, isn't she?
How? What idiot voted her in? Mind you, what idiot voted fucking Trump in? Tyler?
I didn't vote for that orange man.
Oh, that's it. Don't wave at me, Nova.
No, because we're live, and I try not to have the kids on screen while we're live.
I know, bud.
Yeah.
And they keep trying to come in. I'm like, just wait till the after show.
I must admit, it's America's got a definite case of when you've been tangoed.
I mean, just look at the protests that went around. When's the last time that we had a U.S. president that had a literal 50 statewide protest?
Do you know what is scary about America? Is when you look at the whole presidential thing, one of your best presidents was Ronald Reagan.
He was an actor.
A man out acted by a chimpanzee.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about your American political system?
But we need to go back to the old ways of shooting chimpanzees into space and sending Trump up on a rocket.
Now the chimpanzees would protest.
He's taking work from us.
You think about it, right? If let's say that there are aliens, which I actually think there are.
Yeah, and they got it within 1,000 fucking light years of here and went, nope, never mind, went the other way.
And they're out there in space, okay? And they're watching the planet to see what we do as a human race. And they look down and I think, well, we'll have to look at the leaders. We look at the important figures that these people support. And they look down and they see Keir Starmer, Trump, JD Vance, Putin. Now do you understand why they decided not to invade Earth?
But not only that, it would being anal probe be a different We should have been shafted.
Either that or they have come down, they did anal probe Trump and lost the probe.
One alien yelling at the next one, I told you to use the flared space probe. God damn.
Yeah, they came down, they saw Trump and went, yeah, there's no intelligent life on this planet. We'll leave it alone.
That or they just looked down, took pity on us and said, nah, they've got enough trouble.
I have often wondered that, actually, Lee, if some of Lincolnshire people are actually aliens. You could have a good point. You could have a very good point. There are some strange people in Lincolnshire.
I mean, we got Florida, so what does that tell you?
I don't want to know whether he'd like the anal probe thing. What him and JD Vance get up to in the Oval Office.
I was going to say again.
Actually, you may have a point there, Lisa.
There is a little point there, yeah.
It's just a scary thought, really, isn't it? Elon Musk definitely looks a bit like an alien.
I mean, he dances like one for sure.
Well, he's doing a shit job of making his vessel to get back home, isn't he? He keeps blowing the bugger up.
Maybe he's really.
Probably a tax write-off.
I'm just waiting.
I'm just write-off.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to be on board.
Maybe Musk is not his second. Maybe Musk is not his second name. Maybe his second name starts with a T. Maybe he is actually E.T. In which case, we can say, Elon, fuck off home, please. Take your electric car with you.
Yes, go back to South Africa.
Now, there's been some decent people come from South Africa. BFJ.
Yeah. Afrikaan. Keep forgetting he's an Afrikaan.
Yeah.
See, what I want to know, how did he end up not being on the list of, high level, billionaires on that submarine?
Who, BFG?
No, Elon Musk.
No,
because he
Musk.
probably realised it's gonna.
BFG's lucky if he's got £5 in his pocket.
Musk would have been mad they used a PlayStation controller instead of Xbox.
Well, there's been another one in Egypt that's crashed, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, another one?
Stevie.
It's the glowing end that's the problem.
Yeah.
All I can think about is a scary movie. It's my strong hand.
Jimmy Savile, phone home.
What'd they say in Men in Black? Elvis didn't die, he just went home.
I'm same with Michael Jackson now.
If you do the fucking the time joke about Michael Jackson, no.
I'm not gonna do the joke about Michael Jackson. Didn't like him when he was alive. Don't like him now.
Poor bastard. Poor Bubbles. Got in trouble for blowing bubbles.
Well, yeah, he messed his makeup up. Everybody noticed.
Mm.
Well, mate, it's easier for Lee to work from home, isn't it?
Well, think about that, Lisa. He's doing the same work without those lovely, lovely coworkers that he talks so highly of all the time.
He loves his co-workers.
Mm.
You can tell from the way he talks about them.
Well, you got to ask the question, Lisa. How's your sugar doing today?
It wasn't doing well yesterday.
How does that go?
That sounds more like our show, Lee. Larry, Curly, and Mo. An Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman, and that's our show. It starts out like a fucking joke.
Mm.
And then you throw the American in, and it definitely.
Yep.
I'm going to ask a question, going back to vaping. Has anybody seen anything that they are buying?
No, I bought it yesterday. It arrived yesterday.
I bought mine thanks to Bill.
And I have a working Blaze Max.
I've bought
I
another
changed
one.
the coils and put shorter leg coils in it.
Yeah, there's that weird thing about resistance, Craig. When the coil touches the metal top to the chimney, it messes.
Yeah, I know. It does come up with atomizer short. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Little problem with that.
I bought the new one.
Even though you went on after Bill bought it. I'm not buying it. There's not that many differences. There's no 6 hours later, it's on the way.
I went on last night and I was looking at it and I thought, well, yeah. I mean, it does look good and it's different airflow. And somehow I managed to talk myself into I needed one.
Did you have a 10% discount code as well, possibly?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, not good, Lisa. Not good at all.
Mm-hmm. It's just that little tease, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
That was the only thing on there that I could find, though. That I was buying.
No, I think I am going to buy that Torin 30 and see how it is. When I had the Asgards, I like those, but the insert being Ultram, I just, being that's a machine actual metal insert, I want to see how it is.
Lisa, all I can say there is, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, Lee's had it now.
The problem with everything Lee buys, the basket's a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
Well,
I've got a couple of things in a basket as well.
The last big thing he bought was a car.
Yes, I've got that to come as well.
What, a new car?
Replacing.
Yeah.
Not brand new. Not brand new.
He's buying a Tesla. That's what he's not telling me.
Fuck off, no. What, and then and hope that I can get a parking space outside the car to trail the cable all the way up the steps and some bugger trip over it now.
And then sue you for tripping over the
Yeah.
No,
Now,
you know
what
exactly
no,
what would
the secret is, the street lights.
Mm.
yeah, take the
There's
panel
that
off the
plate at the
top.
bottom. If you just tap into that plate at the bottom,
Yeah. Yeah, but
No,
knowing my luck,
no,
I'll end up
no.
bloody electrocuting myself.
I know exactly what would happen in Craig's house. Craig would plug the car in overnight and think, yeah, that's it, be all right for the morning. Come down in the morning and find somebody has pulled
Dumb
the
bugger.
charger out and
Yeah,
plugged
dumb
the
buggers
phone
unplugged
charger
it.
in. Theo, he'll have put it. Why I needed to charge my phone? Yeah. Fucking
Yeah. Oh, by the way, son, you're walking to school. Oh.
yeah.
it would be the sort of thing he'd do as well.
Mm.
Did you get the new one located right then, Lisa? Because I know I've got to see my diabetic nurse and get transferred over to them.
It's like the diabetic helpline in here, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
I like the Blaze tank, Steve.
Which
yeah, the
one?
tank's good, but
For the Boro, I bought both versions of it, the plastic top tank and the one that had the sliding glass doors on it. Neither one have too many issues, but the fitment for the tank is almost like a half millimeter off. So if you don't get that flush nut really cranked down perfect and straight, you're gonna have atomizer issues.
I don't have any problem at all with mine.
Oh, you do?
Even I was using it on the Blaze AIO at the same time, and that one's got issues for being what it is, the mod.
I think it's the Blaze AIO. I've had a lot of problems with that.
I haven't got mine to really successfully be used, so
I wouldn't buy the Blaze AIO itself because for me it's no use.
What sort of sick, twisted individual?
I saw a comment. I was waiting for Matt to get riled up.
Strawberry flavoured beer.
Well, that would be something that someone from Australia would drink.
Honestly, Shane, just
No,
buy proper.
that
sorry,
is
someone that's
sponsored by
moved from
Spock.
Australia. Someone
that's
that's moved
Sponsored
from
by
Australia.
Spock, it's gonna have strawberry anything.
Just buy proper beer if you're going to drink beer.
Steve, if you're thinking about an AIO, eSig One have still got the VPON cooker for 19 quid.
Yeah, they have, and that's a cracking little mod.
That's
Yeah.
actually set up.
What's the other one we've both got? Not billet. The one with the open battery. The Nitro? No, not Nitro.
Yeah,
The Nitro.
the nitrous. Yeah,
Nitrous, yeah.
nitrous.
Ion or whatever.
Damn vape nitrous Zion in it.
Yeah, I believe
Zion,
so.
that's it. That's a good little mod.
I
All metal as
don't
well.
think
So
they don't
No,
have them.
Steve, it's
eSig One
translate.
don't have them in stock anymore.
Ah,
But I think they were in stock on Evolution, and I think SR still has the Raga for 50 quid.
that's a good mod. It's a good price as well.
Hmm.
Is that
That's
a Theo alert?
Yeah, that's a nice mod as well. The Ambitions Killick.
Yeah.
Whether you get the Killite Pro or the standard Killite.
I like that, the little Cthulhu.
Yeah.
The V2.
Hmm.
all I gotta say, in Dave's defense, AIO wanker.
Fucking hell, man.
See, Shane, I saw the Rift and I actually like the design of it, but dude, what they want price wise over here, even still, I'm not paying it.
The Rift has
Yeah,
a
it's
lot.
still
of
about
problems.
140 quid.
I didn't like the fact that a lot of people had paint falling off them as well.
Yeah.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, Trooper's a good beer. Stevie, I can ban you if you want. I don't like it. Everything he's built recently or in his name is literally been him putting his name to a product. He hasn't checked the products.
No.
But did you notice when he released the Pro, he went on and said this is the first one he is from the ground up. He is the designer for everything and da. You didn't design shit. You pinched ideas off of old RDAs and threw them together.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying there's a whole lot of room for innovation anyways these days, but
Mm.
still, don't say that you designed this whole whatever when it's obviously a standard Dead Rabbit poster.
Oh, look, it's made by Bogan. We can stick an extra 50 quid on it.
Oh, look, it's made by Bogan. Don't bother.
Oh, that charged.
But I mean, no, the Killite is a good little lad, a good little AIO, and it's
AIO.
nice thing with the Pro is the battery is fully protected.
See, that's one thing I don't understand about a lot of these AIOs that came out. Why is there nothing over the batteries?
So you can show off your battery wraps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at my
Buy some OBD wraps and show
one
your
wrap.
batteries off.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Although I did see that Smoan are bringing out a AIO.
Right.
And I'm still waiting for that mech to come up from Timesvape to see how it actually machining wise, was done.
No, Vic is not earning that SX money. They've gone their separate
Parted
ways.
company.
They got fed up with waiting for Vic to do something.
No, I think it was his whinging and begging for people to advertise on his channel.
Well, some
You
people
don't
have
like
said
me
that
for that
the
one.
contract ran out as well.
Stevie's just trying to wind me up to get me to go into ranting mode. It's not working. He's trying to get me back for all them Brummy comments. That's what it is. Oh dear.
All right, Matt. I see the high-end mod. Now, what RDA did you put on top of it? 'Cause it looks like something fancy you pulled out.
Like that. It's a Haku. I also have the Nada as well. And before anybody has a fit and say, why am I buying like ridiculously expensive RDAs, they're not genuine. I'm not paying £400 for a 22 mm RDA.
No.
when the build quality is probably about the same on the two.
Hold on a second. They sell the Haku for 400 quid.
No, the Haku I think is about 150. The Nada RTA, which I've
The
got as
Nada
well.
was- Yeah, the Nada was stupid money.
That one. That's about four. Genuine one is 400 quid.
Yeah.
It's now on the floor.
I pick it up. You'll pick it up in a minute.
I'll pick it up eventually.
No. Well, I know pick it up tomorrow.
To be honest, it's not a bad RDA. It's not, but by God, it's an awkward one to build.
Hmm.
Looks like one of the sites over here, the Vaping Delights, that shop that does like the higher end stuff over here. Halak Hari version 3.5, silver RDA 450.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like
Yeah.
they wanted 500 for the Danny V 330.
I'm having a Dalek break, by the way.
I'm sorry, I'm not spending $500 on RDA, let alone a single coil. No.
No, say, Shane, you say about mods, AIO mods picking up, collecting dust. I worked out why I don't use them, apart from these. It's because they're all right-handed mods. Nearly all of them. You look where the fire button is, you've got to use it right-handed. And I'm left-handed. So there's been a couple of left-handed mods, but they're very rare. And then you get like this is, which is ambidextrous, but the fire button's at the bottom, not at the top.
As far as the fire button for an AIO, though, I like that placement.
At the bottom, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Because it means you don't start choking off the airflow anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, the short time that I used the stubby, I noticed that you kind of had to hold it a very certain way and only halfway hold the mod for your airflow to actually be right.
Yeah. Yeah, because you wrap your fingers around on the stubby, you immediately block the airflow off.
Who's got a stubby?
Tyler, it's while he's waiting for the op.
I thought Matt wasn't done. I thought he was going to go, who has a stubby? Matt has a stubby.
I'm not saying a word. If you've got a stubby, that's your issue.
My issue, Matt, is why is there a puppeteer, making voices for yours?
But no, seriously, Shane, the fire button position on this makes it so much easier to use, whether you're left or right-handed.
Damn.
Well,
I'll be honest, I will not buy anything of Vape Smarters.
I'll be even more direct than that. I wouldn't buy anything that Stuart Liggins makes.
Yeah.
I don't like the man. I find him obnoxious. And I find his mods nowhere near the quality.
Well, we talked about this before the show started. Anyone wants to see his quality, or as of recently, look at Bogan's last review he put up about the Series Mac.
TFX stuff is much higher quality. Much higher quality.
Yeah.
It's properly made. And I know if I have a problem with this, I can phone up Scott, and Scott he'll sort it out. But that's just me. Hey, if you got it on a trade, mate, that's It's cool. Yeah, and it's personal thing. It's personal preference. If you like it, that's cool. That's cool.
We've talked about it before. Like, look at the AIO stuff. I've had a couple of the mods. I've tried them. It's not the right vape for me. It's not a warm enough vape. I've put every build you can think of into it. I'd rather have something high power.
You need to get some decent coils or a decent coil builder.
You need to stop using those Wotofo ones.
Ouch.
Is this a knife I see before me? No, it's sticking out your back.
I was gonna say, I feel a little twinge back there, Matt.
I did put a comment on your post when you put them up.
I did see that, yeah.
Put up two. Which one? Oh, that one? Yeah.
That I'll say, Lee, you say about the IPV 200. That's the thing. IPV and SX Mini work hand in hand because IPV is now owned by SX Mini. But they've always had their own board.
A Yee variant board, yeah.
Yeah. The IPVs have always used their own board. They've never used the SX Mini boards. I used because for a long while I beta test for them, and the IPV stuff, I really couldn't fault it, any of it.
No, excellent.
And I mean, I've absolutely hammered some of the IPV mods I've got.
Excellent little mods.
Yeah, man's over there. I'm not using it. The only reason is because I can't change the picture on it.
I mean, I've got my G class. I've got a G class, the V2 G class, and I've got my IPV. And I've got to be honest. If I'm going out somewhere with, not that I do much with a big mod these days, but I'd probably use the IPV.
Yeah.
There's no difference in it, to be fair. I don't think there's any difference. So, Bill, what albums have you bought this week?
I've not bought any this week.
How many are you waiting to be delivered?
I'm only waiting for Behemoth's new album to come out.
I have ordered this week Typo Negative. So I've got some. I've got a couple of Typo Negatives albums that I didn't have, and I thought I did, but I've ordered them. I've ordered BPD, who are they only did one album, but it's Who's in the Band, which is it's kind of a collaboration sort of set of musicians, but one of the musicians just happens to be a Mike Portney.
Yeah.
And it's like a cover album. And they've taken all sorts of songs that really shouldn't be metal and turned them into metal songs. It's just weird, but it's cool. Yeah, you got the Anthrax album, which really, really pleased G. You could see it all over his face. He was really happy about
that. Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw this, Lee, on the new Anthrax album that's coming out. They're working on the last two songs for the album now. They reckon it's going to be another couple of weeks before they finished the last two songs. Then it's got to go back in to be produced. So I reckon 6 months' time, the new Anthrax album should be out finally. What the hell they're doing, Anthrax, I don't know. It's I mean, obviously Tyler doesn't buy things like CDs, or he certainly doesn't buy vinyl. We know that.
No, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have bought it
You
from
say
Walmart.
let me rain while I'm kicking you off.
But tell me why. I'm going through Walmart with the kids the other day, and I happened to go through the music aisle to see if they had anything, CD-wise decent for grabbing.
Oh, nice.
And I see the record players and their vinyl collection there. I'm like, do I really want to go down this rabbit hole? Do I really want to start?
I will say, if you start going down the rabbit hole of buying music, it gets expensive.
It does.
I was obviously it's a modern day copy of it. It's it's a Walmart thing, but they had one of the liquid filled orange Zeppelin albums. That one I almost got just for what it was, but if I have nothing to play it on, it's just a wall piece,
Well, yeah, you buy that, and then you have to buy yourself. You need to buy a record deck, so you need to buy an amplifier to go with the record deck and a pair of speakers.
Yeah.
I don't see an issue with that, but that's the way my mentality works.
You're as bad as Lisa. When I brought up, I want to buy one of these three things. Just get all three; it'll be fine.
I don't see an issue. I've been looking at those House of Marley ones.
I don't know much about them, to be honest, mate. I've seen them. I haven't seen anything bad about them. Put it that way. I don't think they're bad.
I know they got Audio Technica styluses on as well.
I mean, I like Audio Technica do some good turntables, to be fair.
Must admit, I'm debating getting the cheap Sony turntable.
I thought you were anti-Sony.
Yeah, but that can't scan your music.
Another good reason to go for vinyl, isn't it?
Yeah. No, Sony make. I mean, I've got some Sony Bluetooth earbuds. They're good, and they hook up with my TV in bedroom without any problem. Where my other ones, for some reason, the TV doesn't always want to recognise.
It's so the neighbours don't hear. Oh, nurse! Oh, nurse!
I've come to repair your washing machine.
I was thinking more,
thank you. It's not on the spin cycle. Madam, do you have I see you called me out for a dripping tap. I'll give you something to drip on.
You've been watching your dad's old films.
I was going to say, you're getting a little bit detailed there, bud.
No, he's been watching what he found in his dad's videos. That's what it was.
Well,
yeah, because all the magazines wouldn't come apart.
My brother had got my dad a kind of dodgy Fire Stick.
Yeah.
So he had my brother had a little look at the history of what was on, what he'd been watching, and he's like, "Dirty old bugger's been watching porn."
Only problem is when the TV's, facing the window.
You wouldn't be able to see the window from the position of the house, so it'd have been all right.
Actually, Shane, I have no issue with the Pantera, the tribute band. For me, Pantera will always be the Abbott Brothers. It will always be Diamond.
Yeah.
And I saw Pantera when it was the Abbott Brothers. But I have no issue with who's doing it. And it was never meant to be Pantera it wasn't meant to. That was all said at the time, you know. It wasn't meant to be Pantera reforming. It was meant to be a tribute. Like I say, I was lucky. I saw Pantera when Vinny and Dime were still alive. So
I saw Pantera a few times in the 80s.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Don't start this one again because I'll look at the date on the computer and think it wasn't. Oh shit! It was that long ago.
Yeah, it was. It's like
We did that the other day. I looked at you said something about it was only back in 1990 something, and I looked at the fucking date and I was like, shit, that's 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I look back and it was only 45 years ago since I saw Iron Maiden first time. Shit. That's 45 years ago.
Yeah, I thought that yesterday when it was on Pick of the Pops on Radio 2. It was 1992. But, oh shit, that's 33 years ago.
Yeah, it's when I was born, Craig.
Bugger. Yeah.
Don't worry,
But-
there'll come a time you'll be listening to the radio or something, and
Yeah.
Little Wayne will come on.
Or some Green Day or something like that.
No, the bad part is they call half that shit fucking, was it dad rock or, you know, they're starting to turn that into like the classic is now that shit for the fucking modern kids.
Now you know how we felt.
How do you feel now?
Privileged.
Yeah. At least I saw the good bands when they were. I saw the good bands when they were fresh.
We saw all the good bands, and I enjoyed seeing them.
Yep.
So
I started going to concerts 45 years ago.
bands like Sepultura,
Pantera.
exactly, Lee.
Yeah.
And we're still listening. That's the thing is, it must have been pretty good musically because we're still listening to it.
Mm.
You know, I go through my playlist and most of it is like, I mean, Lee knows. It's like most of it is the old school thrash. It is, but there are youngsters out there. I can tell you now, there are youngsters out there in their 20s who are into like the 90s thrash stuff. DW, who comes on on Lee's show. DW's into all his 90s proper metal. He's into all his thrash. So there is youngsters out there with taste.
I can say, Shane's on about the Tony Martin Sabbath albums. No.
Ronnie.
I saw Ozzy when he went solo. And I saw Sabbath with Dio. I'm sorry, but Tony Martin ain't a patch on Dio.
I would go as far. Don't get me wrong, I love the Sabbath era with the original lineup.
Yeah.
But when you listen to Ronnie's voice, yeah. Unbelievable.
Different level.
You see this little bloke who I think Ronnie was 5'2" or
5'4".
He was only tiny, Ronnie James Dio, and yet the voice he had on him, fuck me, that's unbelievable voice.
You know, I mean, you know,
I saw Sepultura with the Cavaliera brothers. And personally, I think that was the best. And Soulfly. I personally like Sepultura with the Cavaliero brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronnie had a phenomenal voice. Absolutely amazing voice. I think this tribute to fucking Ozzy Osbourne, I think, is a money-making scam by the lovely Witch of the West. I do not like Sharon Osbourne. I make no secret of that. I hate her with a passion. I think she is a devious, evil, twisted little bitch.
Who's only interested in two things: herself and money.
That's the one, Lee, the Wicked Witch. And my personal opinion is I think Ozzy would have lived to. I think Ozzy would have probably been in better health in some respects if it hadn't been for Sharon.
Okay.
I've got two of the original Elf albums, Shane. Jeez, that's going back to the early 70s.
Yeah, Elf was 70, 71, 72.
And 73.
Yeah. I've got all of Rainbow's albums as well.
Yeah. And when Blackmore left Deep Purple, he poached Dio for Rainbow.
Yeah.
And I don't think there'll be another singer like Dio ever.
No, I don't. I totally agree with you. It's great, isn't it? They're on about doing a hologram show to keep the legacy alive. They're not dead yet, Sharon.
No, but wait till he actually does die and how much he's going to try and pull royalties on all of his old stuff.
Oh, she's already got Sabbath tied up with legal battles over royalties.
Yeah.
That's why they've not remixed any of the old albums. Because Sharon Osbourne wants too much money. And Tony Iommi ain't going to give her it.
Oh, it's going to be a mess. That's guaranteed. It's going to be an absolute show, mate. Absolute shit show.
Thing is, I met Ozzy when he was still in good health. Pissed, but in good health.
Mate, he's been pissed since about 1968.
Nah, 67. He was already pissed before Sabbath started.
Makes you wonder where his drinking came from, doesn't it? Because his dad wasn't a drinker.
His dad wasn't a drinker, but he... Oh, I didn't know where he worked. I know Tony Iommi was working at the same place because he was an apprentice toolmaker.
Well, they were working. Ozzy
Aston.
worked. Yeah, Ozzy worked at the Lucas car horn factory,
That was it.
and then he went. He got sent to prison for 6 months for burglary, for stealing women's tights. Believe it or not. And then he got out and he worked at an abattoirs. Slaughterhouse to you, Tyler.
Okay.
I think Ozzy had about 3 or 4 jobs. I can't remember them all off the top of my head now. But
Yeah.
and we all know the story of Tony Iommi losing his fingers on a metal press.
Yeah. He was setting up a steel press, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, if he hadn't done that, he wouldn't have created that doom beat, that doom metal beat. Hey, up,
True.
Martin.
Hey, Martin.
Hi, Martin.
But I mean, in the 80s, I met an awful lot of those musicians. You just treat them like anybody else. They're just another bloke in the pub or wherever.
Mm.
Like if you ever did the "We're Not Worthy" to Lemmy, he would have just pissed himself laughing.
Tyler wants to meet Little Wayne.
Yeah. Honestly, as far as music goes, from my generation and everything, there's not really anybody still alive that I would want to meet.
That's scary. From his generation, there's no one alive. Now, you see, from my generation, they've died.
Yeah.
Right, but not at young ages for the most part.
Most of them died of age-related things.
Yep.
Apart from Cozy Powell.
Yeah. It's okay, you can admit it. You like Chad Kruger, don't you?
So you asking me or Martin? Because I don't even know who the fuck that is.
Stickleback.
Oh, see, I told you, as far as like actual people, as you know, names and everything, I don't retain that for anything.
I'd personally love to meet Chad Kruger and just punch him square in the nose, personally, but that's. Oh God, he's such a tit.
Well, Lemmy was a nice, gentle bloke, but don't get in a drinking competition with him. You'll die.
Yep.
You won't just lose. That's why I never actually drank with Lemmy. You know, I would drink 2 or 3 bottles of whiskey, but that was a day's drinking. For him, that was just topping up.
Yep. Right, as it's now nearly 2.5 hours.
Oof. Yeah. Oops.
When you lot are Do your goodbyes, gentle folk.
It must be my turn. Right. Hope everybody's doing well and has a really good week coming up. If you do need us, the group's there, or you can contact us. We're all open on Messenger. Just have a really good week. And you was on the road 5 years as a super fan. I was on the road as a roadie. You can imagine what my lifestyle was like, Shane. Enough said.
Continuing on.
Yeah, continuing on. Like I say, hope everybody has a really good week, and I'll hand it over to Tyler.
Thank you, Bill. Well, as always, everybody, thanks for being here. You know, keeps the conversations going. We can have so much nonsense being spewed by everybody. But yeah, everybody have a good week, like Bill said. You know, the group's there. Our personal Facebooks are there. Shane, you've got me now on Facebook. You need anything, man, don't hesitate. It's not a bother at all. Yeah, everybody have a good one. That's it from me. Craig, say goodbyes, bud.
Yeah, all I can say is I echo exactly the same that Bill and Tyler has said. Yeah, thank you for joining us. The group is there if anyone is struggling. We'll be back again next week. And hopefully some more of what we're chatting about. Oh, good show as well as usual. Thanks for joining us, and I'll pass that on to Matt.
Yeah, another good week, another random week of random waffling. Be nice to have some good news to talk about relating to the vape stuff, but hey ho, we shall see. Keep you informed on that. Yeah, Facebook's there, messages there if you need us. I have no idea what next week's show will be on until we get to next week, about 3 hours before the show, when I finally decide to come up with something. But we shall be back next week. So for now, I shall wish you all a good evening, and we'll see you all later, guys.
See you later, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.